Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a crazy October surprise here today. It is a liberal attorney general nominee saying in now revealed text messages back in 2022 that apparently he was fantasizing about shooting the Republican House Speaker and then pissing on his grave and making comments about the family and saying that the Republican politician and his wife were raising little fascists, which is pretty insane considering the context now. This was said in 2022. I do want to make sure the timeline is correct, but still, this is what they do. They call people fascists to justify political violence against them. That's the exact thing we're seeing here today. And now the Virginia Democrats are forced to come out in support of Jones. People are saying he needs to step down. This is disgusting, but they really have no other option at this point. Could you imagine if he won, considering what we just saw with Charlie Kirk and this being released now? He was messaging with a Republican colleague likely, and said this in back in 2022, whether you want to call it off the cuff or whatever. This is something an attorney general, this is your nominee for attorney general, the chief executive officer. This is just absolutely insane, but Democrats now are still backing him. I know the liberal nominee for governor has come out against this Spanberger, but you can see some of the things that he was saying, talking about pissing on their graves, fantasizing about killing them, saying, quote, "I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves." Quote, "Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head." And then he says, "Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy." And that is a very important statement because, again, this is an attorney, this is a nominee for an AG role within a state in the United States, a major state, Virginia, which is at this point a more liberal state. And so this is the ultimate justification. Do I think Todd and Jennifer, Todd being the Republican politician, Jennifer being his wife, are evil? He says that in a question mark, and that they're breeding little fascists, question mark. Yes. So it is, I label people fascist, I label people something horrible, and then they need active real world pain so they change on their political position. Saying that they're breeding little fascist young kids, the context with the Charlie Kirk shooting and the justification of, hey, fascist, catch on the bullet casings. It is pretty insane in terms of the comparison of this. This was back in 2022. It is an October surprise. It's not surprised it's being released right now in terms of the fact that, it's a month away from the election and this is a more liberal state. And with Virginia, it's so unfortunate the way they do their policy in terms of the non-consecutive terms, because Youngkin would very easily win a re-election. You've got people coming out. This is the Republican candidate for governor there, Winsome Earl Sears, saying Jay Jones literally fantasized about killing a man and 2 children, and Abigail Spanberger still doesn't have the guts to tell him to drop out. And it's like, well, the Democrats are kind of forced with him now, but this is a horrible look for their party. But is it really surprising? This is the perfect example of their so-called moral justification for why they think political violence is acceptable. They're fascist. They need real world violence to change their political viewpoint and to change policy. Talking about pissing on their graves, saying their children are fascist. This is an attorney general candidate, an 8, really? This is the best they can do. And so we'll see what comes of this. I saw this, was looking up the subreddit R Virginia. Of course, they're all trying to defend it, right? They're doing whataboutisms to Trump. Well, everything gets compared to Trump, and it's just like the whataboutisms when it comes to political violence. But I mean, it's not even just the political violence, like comparing tit for tat, if you really want to do that, because of course, 2 of the biggest figures within the Republican Party have been shot at. Both had guns pointed at their face. I don't think any of the top liberal leaders have dealt with that within the past years. Certainly they haven't. So you can't even do the whataboutism on political violence on both sides. But even beyond that, this is part of their ideology. They call Trump literally Hitler or literally a fascist or whatever, something very bad. And that supposedly gives them the moral right to commit an act of political violence against Trump, which is when we saw Thomas Crooks try killing Trump. And then there was immediate moral justification for why that action should be allowed. And it's the same thing with Charlie Kirk. And these are normal, everyday people celebrating it. We saw the crazy cancel campaigns against them and that's more of like a societal value to where it's like, all right, we don't put up with this. You're not going to make fun of a father for dying, especially the way he did. And it's just not going to happen. And then liberals threw a hissy fit that they were getting canceled. But that was more of a societal standard that wasn't going to be allowed. But for an attorney general, even if this was 2-3 years ago, I mean, now with the Charlie Kirk stuff, this is a look under the hood. This is what these people think. They think as long as they can label you a fascist or an anti-Semite or racist or whatever it is, whatever they deem necessary, they think it is the moral justification for you dying or suffering something terrible. And they say, well, you're a fascist, you deserve it. You're a fascist according to me, according to my party. So it's perfectly okay if you're Charlie Kirk, you get shot in the neck and just the terrible with blood going everywhere and just dying immediately. This is something to where imagine this guy wins and it's like, well, it's October, what is it, October 5th. Can they really go with someone else at this point? Man, it would be a real indictment on their party if liberals actually vote for him and he is still running. And, you know, he put out another statement and even the statement that he put out, it wasn't even fully addressing and fully apologizing. Let me see if I can find the statement. The statement is a whataboutism, which is another thing that really goes to show you where the party is at this point. This is from Elon Musk's America. Virginia Beach Dems issue a statement which reaffirms its full support of Jay Jones for Attorney General. Calls for all Virginians to line up behind Jay Jones. We are lined up 10 toes down, ready to organize, mobilize, and deliver votes for Jay and our entire Democratic ticket. Maybe this will also have an effect on the governor's race. Again, if it was Youngkin running for re-election, he'd win very easily. It's unfortunate the way in which Virginia does it, but either way, we will see, because right now, Earl Sears, the Republican, is an underdog significantly in that race. It could change. You never know. Virginia did go Republican in 21 with Youngkin. Now in 25, we will see. And then this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. So this is Bad Bunny, who recently, it was announced, is performing the halftime Super Bowl show. And this guy is like totally Spanish. He's from Puerto Rico. He barely speaks English, you can tell. And so he's doing SNL last night. And I mean, this is the NFL. Now, what I'll say is you could say, well, they're doing this as an anti-Trump thing. The NFL is. It's not that at all. What it is the NFL is obsessed with globalizing their sport. Bad Bunny, who I'm not going to say he's a no-name because I don't listen to these songs or whatever. So I don't really have a great grasp on, the pop culture scene in the United States. Although, honestly, there are certainly people that over him, normie Americans know over him. The point is it's not for Americans. This is to try and globalize their league. The NFL has been going to all these different countries for random games. Is it good for the product? Is it good for travel? Is it good for creating a better environment? And just, no, it's all terrible. These are neutral site crap games in countries that barely even know what football is. The reality, though, for the NFL is there's such a higher upside when you're pitching yourself to other countries that have millions and millions of people, and it creates new revenue streams than having the New England Patriots play their 500th home game. That's just, it's just from a capitalist sense, it makes more sense to try and expand. And so that's what this is. This guy is like a star of the third world and just all these random countries. But in the United States, it's not for the United States. This is the capitalist sense of, we don't care about the U.S. We're not going to make a decision based on the American people, which is where the U.S. is based, which is why the NFL is so successful. We're going to try and do this and placate to other countries. And with Bad Bunny, and people are going to say, oh, you're lying. No, he does not do, this has been reported. Ever since Trump became president, he doesn't do shows in the United States because he's afraid of ICE. So the question is, the thought is that I think he's afraid that he has so many illegal immigrant fans, ICE is going to stake out at his concerts and arrest people. It's like, and now apparently ICE is going to be at the Super Bowl. How many illegal fans does this guy have? I mean, this is insane. So what, are illegal immigrants going to go to the Super Bowl? This is like, it's like a whole new thing. But the guy, ever since Trump won, he's like, I can't perform in the United States because I'm afraid. He said, I think undocumented immigrants are going to be deported. So is your entire fan base in the United States undocumented immigrants? He was saying last night, in speaking in Spanish, and then said at the end, if you don't understand what I said, you have 4 months to learn. So now they're just rubbing it in our faces, I guess. And for the NFL, they don't care. They just want to expand their product, make as much money as possible, just the effect of the bottom line. So there is that as well. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.